Hi there, welcome to Lost in Literature. Today I'm going to take up a poem called A Work of Artifice by Marge Piercy. This poem consists of 24 run on lines, so I'm going to divide it into three parts, 8 lines each, for my convenience. So let's start off with the explanation. A work of artifice. Something in the title. Um, you know, uh, I mean, I almost read it as a work of art. Um, well, a work of artifice. What does artifice mean? Artifice is a kind of clever skill people possess. It's a trick you play. All right. So we'll keep that in mind. That's artifice. And this poem is about a bonsai tree. So let's start off. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning, but a gardener carefully pruned it. It's 9 inches tall. So that is the bonsai tree. You must have seen it, in well-appointed living rooms and, a bonsai orange tree with a tiny fruit or, different kinds of trees which have been uh, controlled, their growth have been controlled. This is a Japanese um, art form of miniaturizing trees. And it's supposed to be a very, very delicate, a very, um, what do you call it? A very, yeah, sophisticated, delicate, careful technique, right? That's what it takes to dwarf a tree. And it looks good. There is no doubt about it. It looks very, very nice. But is it fair to dwarf a tree, to stunt its natural growth? So, in the very first, in these first 8 lines, you have the poet talking about the bonsai tree, which is placed in a very attractive, very nice looking, alluring pot. And she also states the potential of the tree to grow to the height of 80 feet on the side of a mountain, had it been in the midst of nature, growing naturally. And at the most, uh, it would have just been hit by lightning, a natural calamity. Otherwise, the tree would have, grown to its full stature, its full potential, and been part of nature. But that is not so, because this tree has been turned into a bonsai variety, planted in a very nice looking pot. And then the gardener, again, very ironic suggestion of the gardener here. Again, I almost read it as guardian, a protector. But is he a protector here? The guardian, the gardener, carefully pruned it. So, when do gardeners prune trees and plants, shrubs, when they want to make it look decorative? And even in outdoor gardens, very often trees are trimmed. Um, Shrubs, plants are trimmed, and their dead branches, etc., are cut away so that it grows well. And that is what pruning means. But here, something else was happening. This guy was cutting it with a purpose. And finally, this tree, which had the potential to grow to 80 feet, is only 9 inches tall. A real miniature tree. It's such a visual contrast evoked by the poet in our mind. Let's go on to the next 8 lines. Every day, as he whittles back the branches, the gardener croons. It's your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in. Oh my God. Now we are getting details of what the gardener does. His technique of stunting the growth of the tree, right? What he does is he whittles it. Whittles it is to keep chipping off, and slicing into the tree every day so that it doesn't develop. All right? So that's what he does. He whittles. He kind of reduces the size of the tree by cutting repeatedly. And that's what this guy is doing. And on an everyday basis. And actually, he's doing it very lovingly. He croons, he sings to the tree as he's working. He coochie-coos to it. It is your nature, he tells the tree. It is a living being, so I'm not even going to say as if it's a living being. So he talks to the tree in this loving, affectionate manner, but terribly ironic, because he's harming it. He says it's your characteristic, it's your quality to be small, tiny, cute, and cozy, warm, cuddly. That's your characteristic. You're also domestic, right? And weak. Poor tree, I understand. You lack strength. You're domestic. Totally for the house, right? And you get the feeling that this guy is ascribing certain qualities to this poor tree. And it also gives us an idea of women who are kept sheltered in their homes. Are they really protected? I mean, every day their power, their potential is brought down. Their self-esteem, their confidence, everything is brought low, methodically, systematically, in a male-dominated society. And Marge Piercy was an activist. So this poem is definitely taking up a firm stance for women, because that's how men ideally wanted women: planted in their homes, controlled, kept hidden, except when they wanted to display the beauty of their partners. And then on top of that, the gardener tells the tree, These are the most ironic words. How lucky, little tree, you tiny little tree, how lucky you are. You have a pot, you have a house, you have a lovely dwelling place to grow in. You're nourished, taken care of, protected by your guardian. And that is how patriarchal societies are, where the male has the upper hand and he dwarfs, controls, stunts the female. And that's exactly what's happening in these lines. So the gardener is not protecting the tree as such, he is controlling it, gaining dominance over it. And then we go on to the next 8 lines, where more things are mentioned. Marge Piercy has worked in more oppressive details of what the gardener or the so-called guardian can do. With living creatures, one must begin very early to dwarf their growth, the bound feet, the crippled brain, the hair in curlers, the hands you love to touch. There you are, the last 8 lines. And the woman here, please note, is referred to as creatures. With living creatures, a person completely considered inferior to another, manipulated, controlled, brainwashed, dwarfed. Alright? So with living creatures, that's women, one must begin very early. Only then you can mold the woman the way you desire. Alright? So, like everything else in life, we have to, even the miniaturizing, the dwarfing has to begin very, very early. You have to stunt their natural growth. And what's more, you keep telling them it's good for them. That is what is so hypocritical here, so selfish. And he talks about bound feet. Among the Chinese, or rather in the Chinese culture, the women had their, the babies, baby girls particularly, had their feet bound from the time they were very young. Only then, they could be controlled. And tiny feet, delicate feet, they were considered to be very beautiful. And so the Chinese did it. And they did it with such aggression that often they broke the bones of the little ones. And look at this, the hair in curlers. A woman had to be beautified. And so she was made to curl her hair, control it, beautify herself. So hair again put in curlers, and the hands you love to touch. Those very hands were again not allowed to do anything. Their activity was controlled very lovingly. The brain was crippled, brainwashed. The women were made to believe that whatever the guardian was doing was good for them. It's one heck of a poem. It makes me feel angry, indignant, and I want to give these men a nice whack. That's the feeling the poem creates in me, and I don't ever want to have a bonsai plant in my house. I, I just won't allow it. I believe in natural growth. Thank you so much. If you liked it, this poem for the ICSE students, do hit a like, leave your comments, and subscribe to my channel, please.